guys, what is up? It is me, Rosmo, and I just got home from the theaters. Very excited to tell you what I think about the new Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse movie, without any spoilers, of course, don't worry. And if I think it's worth watching in the cinema, or just wait for it to be out in certain sites. Right off the bat though, the opening part of the movie before the title was just gorgeous in terms of storytelling and animation. The way they convey a lot of the characters' emotions, how the scene itself feels in colors, and how the composition of the background changes with the mood was just fantastic. If you remember how stylized and unique the animation in the first movie was, they really asked how they can one-up themselves, and they delivered. There was so many different art and animation styles. I'm not a super hardcore avid, I know every single Spider-Man because I read the comics kind of gal, so I can't tell you who pops up there, but the number of spider heroes there, I mean, it was a treat to see some of them. It was small cameos to short scenes, but it was still a thrill to see all of them in the big screen, and I just couldn't wait to go back home and see breakdowns of which Spider-Person was there. There were some new characters introduced, like Pavitra Prabhakar, the Spider-Man from India. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. I was kind of scared because he seemed like he would fall into the category of the funny guy that ends up being annoying, especially with the chai tea joke that was in the trailers. And that joke was funny online, but it seems outdated in the big screen. But watching the whole movie, Miles also pulled an actually moment like that, so it was a lot funnier with context. Pavitram was a lovable character, and another character was introduced that I will not spoil, but I just know that if you ever end up watching the movie, you'll know who it is. I don't have to tell you, you'll know. He is the best boy, and I like him a lot. The pacing of the story is slower than the previous one, and after finishing the movie, it makes sense why. It's not a bad thing that it was slow though, because the slow moments let us into more of the lives of Miles and Gwen and the people around them, and it did not feel boring or dragging in the slightest. It really fleshes them out more from the first movie, seeing the relationship with their parents more and how heavy the responsibility a hero really has to take, and how doing good affects their family and their mindset. It's all really good stuff. A lot happened in the movie, but it didn't feel rushed or jam-packed with so much information. It didn't feel draining to watch, and each plot point smoothly transitions from another. Nothing felt like a plot device just to skip to the next scene, or any dumb decisions from the characters just to make a problem that they can solve. The way the characters acted made sense, and even if you take different sides while watching the movie, you kind of get where they're coming from. Hell, I thought I wouldn't like the antagonist, but I couldn't hate him. He just said his backstory, quote-unquote said, like in a monologue. But for some reason, I sympathize with him a lot, and I know where he's coming from, so even if he's like super scary and violent, like it makes sense. Like, I get you, bro. Lastly, I want to talk about the music. Look, I'm not an expert on this topic or even know a single thing about music in film. I'm not the kind of person who would notice music because I would just casually watch it. But as a casual watcher, the music hits. Remember the loud horn in the first film with the Prowler, where every time he shows up, there's this loud, sort of muffled, low horn ringing in the background that makes you tense up and on guard that something will happen. You don't know what, but the music is telling you that there is something that's going to happen. And in Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse, they have something similar, but it's always so eerie. I couldn't connect it to a single character because if I recall correctly, because I'm writing this script right after my first watch, but they have something similar to that ringing noise whenever something happens, and I was always wondering, why is it happening at this moment? I heard it in a train scene, I heard it faintly in a tense scene, and I can't tell you specifically because that'd be a spoiler, but every time I couldn't connect it to a single person or a situation. It was like the Prowler's sound effect that they used in the first movie, but entirely different. And watching this movie as a whole really just made the music all connect. If you watched it, you know what I mean. So yes, this movie is great. If you are planning to watch it in the cinemas, yes, go do so. It will definitely be worth your money. At least for me it was. Oh, and also a big tip for all you really die-hard Spider-Man fans. Please, for goodness sake, whisper when you're in the cinema. I had two people just reacting to everything on screen. The kid behind me kept reacting to things loudly as if we needed to hear it, and kept swearing like it was the first time he was allowed to say a cuss word, and just went all out with every single sentence. Then we got the guy beside me who was wearing a Spider-Man cosplay, which I don't judge, more power to you, but like, he kept reacting too, but not as much because he would tell his friend the different spider people that he would spot, and I thought that was fun to know. The problem is, his voice was sort of loud that I could hear it, but it was not too annoying. But then it all goes downhill with this guy when we get the kicker, where seconds before they reveal a big plot revelation, he spoils it. He could have waited 5 seconds. 5 seconds! But he kept repeating the spoiler for everyone to hear, which was worse because the scene was silent, so he spoiled it for everyone around. including me. So Spider-Man fans, mostly teenagers who don't know basic etiquette in public, shut the f up. Especially the kids at seat V13 and 14, shut the f up. The Spider-Man cosplay beside me who spoiled me and kept stating the obvious on what's on screen and not even bother to whisper, shut the f up. That's it, that's my review. Go enjoy the movie, it's great. So yeah, big thanks to my patrons. A big shout out for my patrons in the Butternut tier. Piranette, Jacob K, Mindhack, Christian V, and Cross. And a special shout out for F Ignite in the Dill Pickles tier. So yeah,